Welcome to Life in the Music Business, a masterclass with Professor Pooch and your host, BACEFACE.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to Life in the Music Business with Professor Pooch and your host, Johnny BACEFACE Ayoub. How you doing tonight, Mr. Pooch?
I'm doing good. Everything's fine. Been a crazy week of, it's always funny when people say, hey, have a great weekend, because this is a Sunday, What's a weekend in the music industry? There's no such animal really as a weekend, This last week, I've worked 7 days the week, the whole 7 days, and probably between 12 and 16 hours a day, which is fine for me because most of my work's fun. I found that the easiest thing to do, the best thing to do, as long as you stay away from negative people, obnoxious people, and drama queens and kings, the rest of life is easy. It's these people that drag you down that cause all the problems. So, yeah, it's been cool.
Cool. Yeah, everything's been good over here. Just been staying busy, trying to enjoy this quarantine as much as possible and kind of train back and forth between this and normal life.
What's normal? Oh, I always love that. The word normal. Like, he ain't normal. What? I love to meet the people who decide who is normal.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it's like, it's normal to you or normal to them,
Yeah.
I mean, the way I look at it is, I believe I'm this, just me. I'm some unique character. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not worse than anybody else. I'm just me. I just am, So what do you want to cover today?
I guess we could pursue from this angle, right? So if I were a record label, what should I be looking for in an artist?
Okay, well, let's take it from that you or I are either a manager or a record company or anybody wanting to sign talent, okay? And what's really interesting is, I have basically a list of things. And what's also interesting, I'll butt in here first, is that, we're going to be, I believe in always covering subjects from both sides. From the creative side, looking for a business person, and a business person looking for a creative person. Now, if we talk as if we're the manager in the record company, the artist should be interested in knowing what we would look for. You know what I mean? Like that. And the funny part is, we'll get into it. Let me throw this at you. Let's say you're a manager or a record company. What would you look for in an artist?
Well, right off the bat, I'll be looking for the skill level of the artist, what their capabilities are, listen to a large array of their music to be able to understand kind of who they are and the genre and the sound that they're building for themselves. And then from there, it would be, I would look for somebody that's hardworking, that doesn't take no for an answer, is investing in themselves so that you know that if you were to give them money or be able to put money out of your pocket into that artist, then it would be a good investment. And I guess it's just a easy to work with person. Obviously that's always going to be hard.
Well, you're dealing with personalities, and everybody in the music, we're all weird. Come on, it's a prerequisite for being in this business.
Yeah, for sure. And that'd marketable, that type of stuff.
You came up with some great points. There's a lot of great points. I have it narrowed down usually to about 9 or 10 things that are just super important. And you intertwined about 4 or 5 of them. Okay, so let's go down the list. All right. Well, you said one of the first things you said, talent. Of course, that always helps, because I could help somebody from here to forever, but if they don't have the talent, and things like that, we're wasting our time. And what the artist has to understand is we're spending time, money, effort to help the artist reach the point that they want to be, where they want to go. And we're not really getting paid until they make it. Okay, unless you're dealing with somebody unscrupulous, there's a big word for you. In other words, they're charging you or something. By the way, let me jump in on that. Excuse me. If a manager or a record company asks for money up front, they're not a legit manager or record company or a publisher for songwriters. They shouldn't, excuse me, fur balls, hair balls, whatever, you know, pooches have them, you know. But yeah, they're not going to, why would a manager or anybody want to be involved with somebody unless they can make money? And the illegitimate ones might want you to pay for it. No, they're not legitimate. You know, they make money when you make money if you're the artist, okay? So, you know, and since you're putting time and effort, everything's got to be right. Now, I have, like I said, 9 or 10 different things that I look for. You know, if I was a manager or a record company, I'm not into that. But, you know, I'll guide the careers. I'll guide your manager, okay? I don't have the time to be a manager and just narrow down kinds of things. But I have, my top 2 things are not what most people might think about. But there are 2 things that are non-negotiable. Number 1, they have to have a ton of drive, ambition, passion. They want to make it more than anything in the world. Every night when they go to sleep, they dream of themselves as a star. They're on stage, they're whatever, okay? Mm-hmm. That's non-negotiable because if they're just, you know, otherwise to me, it's their hobby, fine, have fun. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody that more than anything else in the world, they want to make it. And the number 2 thing is hard to define, but I will call it, for lack of a better term, magic. They just have that charisma, what they call sex appeal. They shine, they glow when they're on stage. You know how you can tell if somebody has magic and they're communicating with the audience, which is very important. Communication also. If you're at a bar, venue, any kind of venue, and somebody's on stage and you see people just talking to each other, that person does not have that magic. They don't have that charisma, that stage appeal, that drive, etc., like that. And believe me, when a person is communicating from the stage, your eyes are glued to them. You know, you can't take your eyes off of them. That's how you tell if they have magic.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? They're not negotiable with me. Well, the drive is just how much you want it. Magic is almost like God stuff, you know? But if you want it bad enough, and, you know, which brings up another point that comes up a lot with this, where too many people on stage are thinking instead of feeling. You know, they're thinking, gee, can I hit that note? Oh, man, I think the bass player's out of tune. Oh, my girlfriend's mad at me. If they're thinking, they can't communicate. You can't think and communicate at the same time. And if you want to make it national and international, you must be able to communicate with your audience. Your mind should be focused on your audience and singing to them. By the way, where it does come a problem sometimes with some people, you'll find that some people are great on stage because they see people and they can talk to them. And they have problems in the studio because the people aren't there, or vice versa. You'll find some people are just comfortable in the studio, but not in the audience. What I always say, you know, when you're in the studio, make pretend the microphone is the person who you're singing to or rapping to. You know, if you're mad at them, you should sound like you're mad at them. But, you know, make pretend the microphone is that person you're talking to.
Wow. Interesting point. I mean, as you're saying, that the communication is the most important part, and that's really the basis of all music, is to be felt. You know, that's why they always say music is good for babies.
Yeah, actually, there are certain kinds of music they even recommend for babies, especially delta waves. I'm not going to get into all this now, but
you even put me onto like the frequency waves. Like
that's what it is. Delta waves is like the timing is about from 1 to like 2.5 beats a second, okay? And then a little faster beat, just a little faster, is theta. That's when you're dreaming, and yeah, delta, you're out cold, you're in a coma, you're dead asleep. Theta waves are usually about 2.5 to 7, and around there, 3 to 7. And that is, you're really close to sleep. And then there's alpha. That when you're meditating, most people are in alpha, which is like 7 to 11 or 12. And then when you're like we are right now, we're in beta. We're talking to each other. Okay.
What does the scale consist of?
It's not as good. It's the amount of beats in a second. It hurts.
I was just trying to be able
to. But you don't have to worry about it because, of course, people can't hear below 20 hertz anyway. But what they use is to do this are what is known as carrier waves. So the 2 hertz might be carried by a 170 something. It gets into all kinds of physics and stuff, which we're not going to get into. And then there's gamma, where you're all, all kinds of crazy stuff. And it can be good gamma or bad gamma, where you're just so out of it, kind of a thing. And that's like from about 17 hertz to about, it's beats per second, the rhythm. And you might run into, you'll hear about binaural beats, where it's a little different frequency at each ear, but they call it brain entrainment. And they, work with things. And then there's isochronic. Isochronic, you don't have to wear headphones or anything. It's just a certain beat, kind of a thing.
Wow. Never even really heard of anything like this and like described like that.
Well, actually, you could find all this kinds of music on like YouTube. Go to YouTube, put YouTube into search engines. For example, YouTube in a search engine, and then put theta waves. Or there are certain frequencies that are very good. Like I use, the most important to me are like 432, 528. I like 417, 255, 174. 174 is great for back. If you have a back problem, frequencies, yeah, but don't use, I'm not talking about using your cell phone. You got to have speakers. You got to feel it. And because I've had, I'm skeptical of anything until I try it out. But what I did was at 174, I mean, you could feel the vibrations, because I did something to my back. I twisted it, I don't know, some months ago. And I give it a shot. I was told 174. I put 174. You put YouTube 174, and or you can get, there's actually free, what do you call it? Frequency generators on YouTube. I looked it up on Google, and you can set the frequencies. And, it's just a tone generator, and you can just set it to whatever you want and whatever volume you want, and they're free. It just shows up on your screen,
That's crazy. That's actually awesome. I mean, like to be able to do that with sound. I mean, that's like a different understanding.
See, everything, go back to everything is energy, frequency, okay. I think, and everything vibrates. Well, there's something about the human body likes 174 for pain. And 432 is good for your health. 528 is very good for your health. They experimented with it. I've seen shows and stuff where they put these things in your brain and stuff like this, and they register what does what, and they found out 528 is just the human body loves that. 432. At 432, everything's frequency. It's sound, folks. Sound is the basis of science and physics and stuff like that, because it's waves. Everything vibrates. That wall you see behind me is vibrating. You just can't see it because you don't have a really, small microscope right up to it, but everything moves. There's lots of space in that wall. You just can't see it.
That's crazy.
stuff is just space and stuff. All right, we're way off.
Yeah, we're completely off. But back, I mean, it all ties.
But it is important. It all ties together
Yeah,
because it's how important sound is.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot more to learn with sound than just music. You know what I mean?
Sound is the elemental form of energy because it actually be measured, frequencies and things like that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about managers and record companies and whomever looking for talent. All right, so I named the top two. Now I'm going to name a couple more that you mentioned, and see how good my memory is on this. But yeah, talent, and what we already kind of discussed, but we didn't put the word in there. But remember I said that if a person is really communicating on stage, okay? It's not just about music anymore. Because everything's visual. They got to be not just great musicians, but entertainers. You can't sit up there, and just play, you're not going to keep people's attention. Nowadays you got to, you got to be alive. You got to do things,
Interesting.
It's just the way it is nowadays. And but no matter what, you should want to be, if you're communicating with your audience, you're entertaining them. If you've got their total undivided attention kind of a thing, okay? So being an entertainer is, you got a great show. And I don't mean gimmicks, folks. You don't need gimmicks. People see right through gimmicks. If you're using gimmicks, they're going to know you're using gimmicks. It's just because that talent and stuff like that, and you're just being alive and you care about your audience and your focus is 100% on your audience. Now, okay, so we've named drive, magic, and entertaining. Name a couple of the other things that you had mentioned that was very important to you.
Investing in themselves. I think that
that's very good. No, we'll stop at that. That's very good. Very important to anybody nowadays is that, now this is if you want to be a superstar. Look, folks, if you're happy playing cover songs, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. Or you just have a little cult audience stuff. But if you really want to earn a living, which is all you do is the music industry, which is all I could ever do. I'd make a rotten employee. I spent 50 years full time in the music industry, or I would have gone out of my mind a long time ago. But where was I? Bring me back. The business. Yep. If I was a manager or a record company looking for somebody, I want somebody to understand that the music business is a business, okay? Why should I spend my money and time and effort, and anybody who knows business, time is money. Like you get paid maybe per the hour or something. If you work at McDonald's or whatever, you get paid by the hour normally, okay? And you're putting time into somebody. You want them to think that, realize that it's a business and it's costing me my time, money, effort, promotion, whatever the hell I'm doing. They do have to understand it's music business is a business. Mm-hmm. All right. What was a couple of the other things you mentioned?
So let me think if I can remember here, right? So I was saying like this, their abilities, what they could do musically. Like, you kind of already touched on majority of the stuff.
No, because that's actually a gigantic subject, which brings us to another point. And that is abilities, okay? To me, I want an artist that has great songs. Because how can I say this without getting bleeped? I guess I don't have to worry about it because you can always bleep me, or whoever is doing the show. But there's an old saying, you can't polish shit, okay? And I can't believe how many times I was called into the studio or some Pooch, help me out. No matter what we do with this arrangement or production, we just can't get it going. And I go in there and then I listen to it and I realize, folks, you can't polish shit. It's got to be a great song. Now, what's a great song? You know, art, any kind of art is an opinion. But a great song to me, the best way I can explain it, and now this takes in effect also arranging, production, all those kinds of things we can get into, you know, the recordings. But a great song takes me on a mini vacation to another dimension. That's what I call it. In other words, everybody's heard a song that just grabs them. It takes them someplace.
That really do that for you.
Huh?
You know any songs on top of your head that people could like reference to if people aren't?
Oh my God. Yeah. Hallelujah. Which has been done by a ton of artists, and they all seem to, I like, huh?
So Jeff Buckley's is incredible.
Jeff Buckley did a version. I love the Pentatonics version, which is all a cappella.
Yeah.
Okay. They did a great version. It was written by Leonard Cohen, who died about a couple years ago, I guess. But it's one of those songs that I said, gee, I wish I would have written that song. It was just so good. Other songs, I mean, there's several of Fleetwood Macs because they're written, they were so heartfelt because there was actually fights between the people in the band. So they were real, folks, you know. And here, which brings up another point about a great song. Great song, oh God, we're not going to go into this whole thing because that's a whole couple weeks of things of what makes up a great song. But it's got to be something people can identify with. If you're the only person that can identify with the words, forget it. Other people have to be able to identify. Oh, it's like, you know, oh, I've been there, or I'm going through that right now, you know, or wow, you just hit home. Why didn't I think of that? You know what I mean? It's real. It's got to be real, the song, you know. To me, a great song, okay? And there's other songs, they just grab you for different reasons. Sometimes, you know, they talk about, you know, great hooks and words. There's been a lot of songs that grab me by the instruments. See, to me, people don't think about this, but every instrument to me should have its own hook. And it might not even, if played by itself, it might sound totally different than the song, but it works with the song, of course, it has to. But, you know, it's a great, all right, even things like Satisfaction. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, you know, that grabbed people, that thing. Also, Every Breath I Take by the Police. What made it was the guitar. Da, 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 da. It would just stay with you. You can't get out of your head. Which brings up another funny part that I always throw at people. There isn't a person in the world who hasn't experienced this. They find themselves humming a song or they can't get out of their head and they say, wait a minute, I hate that song, but you can't get out of it. So all you can say is it's well written, but you know, it's just not your type of song. You know, I mean, I'm pretty open, but you know, I don't care what genre it is. I like songs in all genres.
Likewise.
But it keeps going back to, it's got to take you someplace, you know? And, you know, otherwise, if they got the really great voice and can really communicate, some people could do other kinds of material. Some people want to do their own. Well, they want to do their own if it's great fun. But, you know, if it's not, you know, you want songs that you can find for them or whatever, that where they can put it across. They have to make it their own. An artist should never agree to do a song they can't feel. And no producer, I see this too much at the time. Producers maybe write songs and they want the artist to do their songs and stuff like that. And they just find an artist to do the songs. That's stupid. They need an artist who can feel where the producer is coming from. And I'm monopolizing the conversation. So give me come up with another thing.
So let's see here, right? Like I guess we can go and say the image, the brand, like who they are.
Good. Let's talk about image. And first of all, what is image? And it became very important starting in 1980 once it went to video. To me, image is what you play, the way you play it, the way you look. The way you come across to your audience, your style, it's you. It's what makes you you. Which brings up a very important one of my numbers. A person should be, it has to go both ways. They have to be unique. In other words, they stand out from the crowd. They don't sound like everybody else. I mean, God, that's why I hate listening to commercial radio most of the time. Everybody sounds the same. I want a sound that, I mean, with the great songs, matter of fact, you hear the first few seconds, you know who the group is, the artist is, and you know the name of the song probably. They're that good, kind of a thing. But they should be unique. They should stand out. But there's no point in standing out if you're not also marketable. Now, one of the curse words to musicians is marketable. Oh, that's commercial, not like a advertisement commercial, but commercial. Marketable just means somebody will buy it, or a record company, if that's where you want to go, to a major label, they'll be interested in it because they feel, wait a minute, there's an audience out there for that kind of song, that kind of music or whatever. So they have to be unique. They should stand out. They should sound like they are. And, very, very important. And this image is part of it that stands out. If you look at the top superstars that have ever been, they were unique. They stood out, and just sometimes the way they looked. Okay. Michael Jackson looked like Michael Jackson. Mick Jagger looks like Mick Jagger. Okay. Things like that. Even a lot of people today, Billie Eilish, immediately as soon as you see her, that's Billie Eilish. Right. I mean, it's just, they have that look, that certain image about them. It's in their music. It's in the way they talk, the way they act, the way they dress, the way, other people perceive them. Perception is a very important word that most people don't know or understand. And perception is, when you first meet a person, you get this instant perception of who they are. Even you could be way off on a lot of things about them, but you either attracted to them, you're not attracted to them, things like that and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Your perception of anything, maybe it's a product or a person, okay? And that image has got to be an image that people will go to. Now, image has a lot to do with PR, which is different than promotion. PR stands for public relations. Promotion is promotion. Now, I'll differentiate them. Promotion is usually buy this, use this. In other words, you hit them over the head with a hammer. PR is your image. That's like the way you are, the way you come across to your audience, the way you look. That's PR. It's public relations. When you're out and about, they see you and right away they know who you are. I mean, I don't mean you have to look as crazy as I am. I'm like walking PR, just happen to be that way, okay? But not many people look like me, okay? I'm sure. But, it's just who I am, and I'm me. And like I said in the beginning, I know I'm a unique character. I don't think I'm better or worse than anybody. I'm just me. I don't look up to people, and I don't look down to people. I look at everybody as equal. But the image a person has, there should be something about them that you're attracted to them, or you know who they are immediately, kind of a thing. So I think that covered unique and marketable. Now, when we're going through things, we left out a very, very important thing, actually a couple. Can you think of anything else that you would be looking for in an artist?
Do they write their own songs? Do they have writers? Do they own all of their own stuff?
Well, the owning of the own stuff goes back to, owning the own stuff goes back to, they have to understand the business is a business. And believe me, we're going to do shows just on how to own your own stuff, because I'm a proponent. I'm for it, for everybody owning their songs and owning their recordings. And yes, do they write their own songs? That's a major thing, and which can affect the business, but also as an entertainer, kind of a thing. I mean, personally, I like it when people write their own songs when possible, or maybe co-write, you know what I'm saying? Because that makes it easier for them to perform. You know what I mean? All right. Anything else?
Let me think here. And we've already covered.
You left out a very, very important one.
Stumping me here. Let me think.
Okay.
I feel like it's wide open. It's like it's right up.
Yeah. Well, let me just jump into it. It goes like this. We started talking about it in a weird way, in that I said after 1980, it became about the image, and now, then it became about, we didn't go into this part, but the third after was, first it was about the music. After 1980, it's about the music. About the image. After the image in 2000s, it got about the story, who's been arrested, who shows up at this, who's running for president, whatever, okay, that kinds of thing. But the fourth thing is extremely, extremely important. And these artists, yes, it's very important that they get that their music is great and they're great at performing and all that stuff. But the fans nowadays want to feel that they're part of your growing experience. They want to feel like they're growing with you. And it's a major, major thing nowadays is how the artist treats their fans. It can't be, you can't get away from it. And it's a major, major topic. But, and man, in other words, if you just go on social media and say, buy this, see my show, I'm streaming tonight, blah, 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 whatever like that, and you're not having an up and back conversation where you're including them emotionally into your personality and product and all that stuff, you got a long way to go. You know what I mean? That's really important. So it's very, very important that, for example, you post something and you don't just post by this, and I told you that, just say, well, I had a great day at the studio, you could talk about, and this is what happened. You're bringing them into your life, okay? Or you decided to take a couple of days off and really search, your head for different things. That's fine. You're talking about yourself that a person could see because they've gone a couple of days here and there trying to find out about themselves, you've got to take them in. So if you post something like even a joke or whatever, and they respond back, believe it or not, and people get scared when I say this, but it's not scary. What nowadays is you're gaining one fan at a time. And people say, well, there's millions and billions. Yeah, folks, if you want real fans, not numbers, real fans, you're going to be communicating up and back with them. Okay? If you post something and they respond, oh, that's really neat, you should post back, well, I'm glad you like it, and you can even get into it and get into something personal about it, about about you were having trouble writing this song, and they say, well, what's the problem? And explain it. You don't have to, you don't have to explain every little bit of it, but just show that you're interested in the fan. It's just super duper important.
Yeah, I mean, the social media is such a big part of everybody's life nowadays. You know what I mean?
Without a doubt.
Especially the music, though. I feel like the thing that a lot of people get stuck on is that, like, the streams matter. But at the end of the day, it's about exactly what you said, Pooch. You're gaining one fan at a time, because if you think of it in the long game, like each fan will even if you had like 2,000 fans, right, and they're paying you $100, each one of them gave you $100 every year. You know what I mean? Making $20,000.
The number I give in one of my articles is you know, people talk about billions and they have all these millions of fans and they're with a major label, but they're not really making any money because the major label doesn't let the money trickle down to the artist. But if you can get 20,000 real fans, not Facebook friends, not likes, real friends that are on your email list, which we'll get to more and more on that stuff. That's your money list. 20,000 real fans. And you just get them over 2 years. That's $2 million. Now, if you're an independent, that whole 2 million is yours. Whereas these people with the millions and millions of fans, quote unquote fans, likes, all that kinds of stuff. And we won't get into all the crookedness and all the craziness going on that right now. But the real fans, and what I'm saying about what it is, if these real fans, these 20,000 real fans will spend $100 a year on you, you multiply 20,000 times $100 is $2 million.
To be honest with you, even if you say like they're purchasing like different things like merchandise or whatever, it could be whatever. Let's say you had to spend $100,000, you still made, you know what I mean, 1.9 mil.
Yeah, exactly. And I think most people could easily live on $1.9 million.
Like you could live on bare minimum. Majority of the people's salaries are $40,000 a year. So even if you were to multiply, like subtract that down, like it's really not that. It's not that many. I just feel like people think they see the major label and they see like the big name in the history, and they're kind of like, oh, they're authentic, they're real. Like we need to be with them, you know. But at the end of the day, you could go either way. You eventually you'll run into a label. But I mean, the independent route is just like you just need to have a lot of determination to be able to get it done.
Yeah, it takes. Look, it's real simple. Like people do my 3-step plan. If you put the effort into it, you're going to make money. If you don't put the effort into it, you're not going to make any money. And people say, man, I don't want to work. You know, it's so much work. I say, well, if you're not working for yourself, you're working for somebody else and making their dreams come true. Or do you want to put some effort into it and make your dreams come true? You know what I mean? It's that simple.
Yeah, I run that. To be honest with you, I run into that a lot. I mean, there's so many people sometimes that just stop me and just ask me, oh man, like how are you doing this? How do you do that? How do you do this? And I'm just like, and the easiest thing I can always tell people is just like I'm willing to risk and sacrifice whatever it takes to get what I want. You know what I mean? And
because you have a dream that you want to fulfill, and that's great. I mean, you know, and just of course you're going to skimp a little sometimes at first. Mm-hmm. I mean, with me it was simple because I didn't drink alcohol. Okay. You know, I didn't drink. It's just actually I'm allergic to beer, but that's another story. But you know, I saved money on things. I didn't need to waste money. I used it and I earned it from multiple streams of income when I first started out, multiple sources of income. I wrote lead sheets because I could. And, you know, I made money from this and that in the music industry. And yeah, it was work, but I like what I was doing. You know, it was based around my music career. So what I'm thinking about is I could think of 2 more things that we missed, okay? 1, they need to have confidence in themselves.
Oh, that's a big thing right there.
It's a very important thing. And by the way, nobody can give you confidence. It's something you have to get yourself. And the funny thing I'll say to people is, you know, if you're not confident in yourself, give me a good reason why you aren't. And they can't come up with the reason, okay?
Funny, actually.
But a lot of people, they have what is called a fear of success. Now, most people think of fear of failure. But there's fear of success. They feel like they don't deserve it because something in their childhood. I'm not going to get into all that. That's a whole topic on itself. But the confidence is just trusting and believing in yourself is 3/4 of the battle. But that confidence is important, you know. And if you're confident and you have that drive, it keeps going back to that number 1, okay? If you have that drive, you know, you are going to be confident because you're not thinking of, oh, am I confident? I'm not confident. I'm scared. Your mind's making it to the top. You have all this other bull you don't need to deal with that you're making up excuses and putting roadblocks in your own path. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny actually. It reminds me of this quote that I once heard. It said that when you're confident in your product, you never worry about the competition because there is none.
Yeah. And it helps if it's unique, but marketable.
Yeah.
Back to that.
Of course. In terms of music, you got to make sure that the large amount of people can relate to it. It can't just be about like your cat named Tweety Bird that you had.
Unless it's really funny and it's a children.
Yeah, but like it's not really something that.
Tweety, and you know, and it's funny and you do a great video on it and the kids like it and it goes viral, or it's a cat video, you know, kind of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, there are exceptions to every rule. Okay, so we could squeeze it into the show. The last thing, okay, you need to have a great team. Do it yourself
One.
equals hobby. And that's the way somebody's going to look at it, you know. Now, the team is way different nowadays than it used to be. In the old days, you had to have the major label and this major manager and stuff. Your team could be totally different. It might be a social media marketer. It might be super fans. And it's back to when we were talking about one fan at a time. Well, if you're really a great entertainer with great material and great communication, everything, that person is going to talk about you to their friends. And that one person might tell 20 people. And those 20 people might tell 20 more people. These are the super fans. You want them. The people that just love every bit about you. Ask them to spread the word, you know, kind of a thing. You know, that's fine, you know. And to me, nothing has more integrity in promotion and marketing than word of mouth. In other words, people are talking about you because they love your product, you. And by the way, I hate to say it, folks, if you're an artist, you are a product, okay? And you have other products, okay? But this team is very, very important, like super fans, you know, friends that'll help you, maybe relatives that are really helpful. Yeah, it helps to have a manager after you get your stuff signed to yourself, but you do need a team. You can't do it all yourself. Because which goes back to what I was saying before, if you're not just putting your music together and working hard on getting that together, but also spending a ton of time on your fans, like they used to tell me, well, they still tell me, Pooch, you cannot be in 5 places at once. I say, why not? You know, but you know, it's true. I mean, you only can do one thing and do it well. Okay. And I believe we've gone through the whole list. There might have been 9 things. I don't know. I didn't count, but I think we hit everything. But these are very important things that an artist should think about. Are they doing these things? Are they, you know, looking? Because a real manager, a real label, I don't mean, you know, somebody trying to rip you off and things like that. It just, they hear about you and all of a sudden you get this email or Facebook message or Instagram message. Ooh, you know, I'm interested in your music. Hey, you want to sign with me? You want to get involved? And you find out they want to charge you $500 a month. You know, that's not a real thing. A real manager will hear about you. A real record company will hear about you. In other words, you have hundreds of thousands of followers on YouTube and Instagram, and the buzz. You've created a buzz. You've done great streams with it, you know, because it's during the virus time. So it's great streams, or when you're playing live, you know, the word is all out, man. Everybody's hearing about you. Believe me, the major people will hear about you. You know, they have people all over the place. I'm in Philly, which doesn't sound like a major thing. They have people in Philly from the majors looking for acts. It's just where it is, okay? And I've met bunches of them, so I know they exist, which gets into a lot of interesting stories at some time. But yeah, I mean, you want to just get immersed in the music and the scene and everything and create this buzz. And if you work at it and you put your music out and you put a ton of effort into your music and your fans and everything like that, and follow the things that we've covered in this episode, you know, they're going to hear about you. But the first thing you're going to do, and we'll cover this in an episode, is you're going to make sure you want to deal from strength. You don't want to sign directly to a label. You don't want to sign directly to a publisher. You want to sign yourself to your own publishing company for your songs and your own record label for your recordings. And we'll be getting into all how-tos and everything like that. I want everybody to know all of this. And it's like I told people, I've been in the music industry full-time for 50 years. I'm not going to do it another 50 years, okay? You know, people say, oh, Pooch, don't retire. Who retires in the music industry? You die. You don't retire, you know? You know what I mean? Yeah, you die. You don't retire. I mean, what would I be retiring for? I'm having a ball. You know what I mean? I just want to pass the information on, and I'm going to make sure that you're going to hear from every angle about everything and every person you're going to be running into in the music industry.
That's perfect. I mean, there's so many things to learn on a daily basis. I mean, you continuously learn, and there's always
Oh, of course,
advancements.
You know, there's this saying that I agree with, that when you want to think you know it all, or you feel like you want to stop learning, you're dead. I mean, I'm constantly learning new stuff because there's new stuff happening in the world. Now I'm into contracts and stuff like that, and that's what's kept me busy this last week, is writing a lot of contracts. I have to keep up what's happening in the entertainment business from the legal end and things like that too. And we get into the MLC, and we're going to get into all that, and metadata. We're going to be covering a lot of stuff that everybody needs to know. But believe me, I'm going to put it in simple language, and we're going to make it real easy for people to understand and have fun with it. You know, I guess it goes back to that saying, one of my favorite sayings that I live life by. It's have fun, but be professional. If you're not having fun, first of all, why are you doing it? And, you know, if you're not having fun, your product's going to look and sound dead.
Yeah.
At the same point, you got to be professional. And, you know, people say, well, describe professional. Now, most people put it like professional, amateur. Professional, you're getting paid, amateur, you're not, or something like that. Mm-hmm. But to me, my definition of professional is respect. You respect your art. You respect the people you're working with. You respect everybody, everything you're doing, you know, and you can create all you want, but you also have to professionally think of your art, and whatever you start, how about finishing it, you know? Finish what you start so you can actually do something with it. There's a lot of people that are great at starting stuff but never finish anything. Of course, they're not going to get any place, but, you know.
And it's all a habit at the end of the day, and I feel like it's something you have to build up. I mean, you don't just wake up and automatically just have a full catalog of music and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, people say, you know, they look at me and they say, Pooch, I'm just starting out, and everybody started out at one time starting out. Believe me, I started out, you know, and I didn't know anything when I started out years ago. And I learned. It was interesting to me, and I wanted to make it my career. I did not want to work for anybody else or anything like that. So I put the effort into it, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I've always seen from everything that I've done in my life this far is that when I've trusted myself the most and really just said, hey, like, forget about everybody else and everything that I'm hearing opinion-wise, I'm going to run with what I feel is best for me and what I feel in my heart and use my intuition to guide me as a compass. And I've never, I'll be honest with you, every time I've ever bet 100% on myself, I never lost.
You know, you put it perfectly. What you said is brilliant. It's just, you know, you shouldn't do what's best for someone else. You should do what's best for you. And others people say, well, you should work a regular job. You should do that, That's fine. If they want to, fine, but don't tell me how to be me. You want to do things just because you want to do it. You believe you can do it. You don't want to do it for somebody else. You have to live with yourself 24 hours a day. Okay. So you said it beautifully. It's, you decided to do what you want to do and you're doing it. Yeah. And you're moving very well for somebody that's, maybe done it for 5 or 6 years. I don't know how many years you've done it. I mean, I've done it for 3, I guess.
Yeah, it's about to be 7 years for me. I mean, okay. I make money full time from music, so I don't do anything else other than music.
Yeah, but you're willing to put the effort into learning about it and actually doing it, not watching other people. You got to grab the thing and just do it. And you're doing it. I mean, that's great. That's why, I'm working with you as part of this masterclass because you showed you're serious. When I first started putting master classes together in 2011, which was, people in this is my place. It's the 3rd floor of my house. It's the Pooch Palace. I do everything from here, okay? I live here basically, especially during quarantining, from the virus and stuff. And man, I look for people that really are seriously want to make it in the industry. If you want to do it for hobby, I mean, I'll help you, of course. But this masterclass series for people that really want to have a career and be, respected, protected, and paid. Okay.
And I think it's a great thing too, because I mean, just from your experience and my experience alone, combining that, we're able to cut the learning curve for a lot of people with them when it comes down to this stuff. Because I know for me, at least when I first started, I literally had no idea what I was supposed to do, or like I knew what I wanted to do. I just didn't know how to get there. I mean, I had played.
We all started there. We all started there. You have to start to continue to complete, kind of a thing. Now you put it well again, it just takes a little effort, that's what it is basically, effort and talent.
Yeah, of course. It's crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the one thing I found interesting too, is because, excuse me. I mean, yeah, that's the one thing I found interesting always, is that like, I've noticed my progression in everything that I've done just by wanting to do it. Like I never really knew how I was going to do it. I just knew that I wanted to do it. So
you don't need to know how. The universe comes in very handy and will help you. If they see you really want to do something, when you set a goal, don't worry about when you set the goal, how to do something. It will happen. You'll work your way towards it. Keep your mind open, work hard, and you'll learn things along the way, kind of a thing,
Yeah. And that's what I've led throughout my entire career. And from that, just taking the action and just moving day by day and being able to progress myself forward, a lot of opportunities presented themselves along the way. And obviously the opportunities were created, and no opportunities just come out of thin air. Like you have to be working and putting in the time and paying your dues to be able to actually to get to where you want to be, and I feel like that's the one thing people try to step right over. But at the end of the day, it's not something you can skip. I mean, everything is a process. It's a journey. And if you're not willing to go through the journey, then, I mean,
well, you put it perfectly, and we can end this today on this note from just what you said in a way. You got this stuff by keep doing. And to me, making it in whatever career path you want takes 1/3 talent, 1/3 luck, and 1/3 persistence. But if you're persistent, you have a great chance to be in the right place at the right time, which is you're making your own luck. So it takes care of the battle because you've worked at it. And then by doing these different things, you've met the right people. Sure, if you sit home and do nothing, nobody's going to find you. You know what I mean? But you said it right. You went out and did these things. And through these things, I'm sure you've met some very helpful and useful people along the path. I mean, think of how we met, because I heard from somebody else that, oh, this guy really wants to learn and do all this stuff. We got together and that was that, because you had yourself out there and they saw you really were serious and wanted to do it. So 1/3 talent, 1/3 luck, persistence. You got to be persistent. You have a much better chance of being in the right place at the right time. You're making your own luck, folks.
Perfect, Pooch. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, that sounds like a good ending to me, so you can just lead us out.
Okay, take care and tune in for the next episode, folks. Stay tuned.
Thanks for watching. Tune in for the next episode.